Today we're talking about the art of living, which is rather a generic title, especially when it comes to ancient Greek philosophy, because every Greek philosopher of any note had at least some scroll or other that told you how you were supposed to arrange your life. But the specific book we're talking about now was written by Epictetus. Now, Epictetus, terrible name, was a man who followed the Stoic. One does things because it's one's duty to do such things. And one should not be upset by this because life is suffering anyway, and get on with it and, just tighten your jaw and go forward. Yeah. A very dour kind of philosophy, the Stoics. Now, you might think comparing ancient philosophies rather, passé today, of no importance, except that most of the Abrahamic religions adopted the Stoic attitude. That life is suffering, and that one does one's duty despite all. Because that's what God demands of you. That's where you prove your worth, and yada, yada, yada. Okay? Now, the specific philosophy we're comparing him to is that of Epicureanism. And before you start thinking that means eating gourmet food all the time and rejoicing in lobster and so forth, what's wrong with that? Now, this is a man who did not go forth and do his duty. No, but what he did instead was live as a god amongst men, untroubled, blessed, serene, peaceful, with no problems in the world. There wasn't a man he met in the street who wasn't a friend or a possible friend. He was a very popular man. And why not? He was easy to get along with. His dictum was, try to make a friend out of everyone you meet. And if you can't do that, at least be an acquaintance. And, try not to make him an enemy. And if you can't do either of those, just avoid him. In other words, block that person from your social media so they can't see your feed. Why get yourself excited? Now, Epicureanism is a philosophy for adults. You put up with stuff if the reward is greater than the pain of putting up with stuff. Now, if the mathematical, balance switches the other way and it's, the game's not worth the candle, well, then you stop playing it. It is that simple. You've got to be rational about these things. You only have so much life to live, after all. So get on doing the things that give you joy and reward. And don't mistake temporary rewards, that are empty, basically, and put your efforts to something that will really, really enhance your life and your serenity. Buying an Hermes bag, might be your goal in life. But really, it's a handbag. Yes, it's nice and it keeps the Hermes leather workers employed, which is awfully kind of you. But I don't see spending $25,500 for an Hermes black Birkin, the all-black Birkin, is really going to enrich my life, and to a significant extent. You could buy a car for that. I mean, really. You could also get a new roof on your house, which is a lot more important than a Birkin. So, you endure work for the pleasure of the paycheck. Now, if you simply can't endure work because a paycheck isn't worth your time, then you find a new job. I mean, you're rational about your life. However, he also said you should spend 30% of your life in leisure. Every day, every week, every month. 30% of that time should be spent in leisure. So, that's 1/3, more or less. So out of every hour, you should spend 20 minutes chilling. Because this is the way to be serene. You know, now, you might not be able to during an 8-hour work shift or a 12-hour work shift, you poor thing. But this means when you get home after your work, you should be spending some time chilling. Just relax for an hour. And by relaxing, because of course he didn't have television or social media back then, he meant interacting with one's friends. Interacting with one's people. Your relationships matter. Because one of the joys of life is having friends. And he recommends having as many of them as you possibly can. So, rather than the stoic and dour and stern Stoicism of Epictetus, I think that's how it's pronounced, you can opt for the more relaxed and less stressful, more rational, more adult philosophy of Epicureanism. And no, that's not an excuse to be licentious. It's not necessary to be licentious because that's often more trouble than it's worth. You see how that works? Anyway, I recommend the occasional read, delve into philosophy, because it helps you get your head on straight again. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Like, share, subscribe, and please come again.